The island. Britain has a mild climate because it lies in the way of the Gulf Stream, which brings warm water and winds from the Gulf of Mexico. The north and west are mountainous, and much of the south and east is fairly flat, which means that the south and east have better agricultural conditions. Britain's prehistory. Britain became an island only after the end of the last ice age. The temperature rose and the ice cap melted, flooding the lower-lying land that is now under the North Sea and the English Channel. The first evidence of human life is a few stone tools, dating from one of the warmer periods, about 250,000 BC. Around 50,000 BC, a new type of human being seems to have arrived, who was the ancestor of the modern British. Around 10,000 BC, Britain was peopled by small groups of hunters, gatherers, and fishers. By about 5,000 BC, Britain had finally become an island, and had also become heavily forested. About 3000 BC, Neolithic people, who were small, dark, and long-headed, crossed the narrow sea from Europe in small round boats of pengwood covered with animal skins. These were the first of several waves of invaders before the first arrival of Romans in 55 BC. The great public works of this time were great barrows or burial mounds made of earth or stone. After 3000 BC, the Chocoland people started building great circles of earth, banks, and ditches. Inside, they built wooden buildings and stone circles or henges, which were centers of religious, political, and economic power. By far, the most spectacular was Stonehenge, whose purposes remain a mystery. After 2400 BC, new groups of people who were round-headed and strongly built arrived in southeast Britain from Europe. They became leaders of British society and probably spoke an Indo-European language. Their arrival was marked by the first individual raves, furnished with pottery beakers. They brought with them barley, which could grow almost anywhere. They also brought skills to make bronze tools, and these began to replace the stone ones. They added a new circle of 30 stone columns connected by stone lintels or crest pieces. However, from about 1300 BC onwards, the henge civilization seems to have become less important. Hill forts replaced henges as the centers of local power. Better designed bronze swords have been found in the Thames Valley, suggesting that the local people had more advanced metalworking skills.
The Celts. Around 700 BC, another group of people began to arrive. Many of them were tall and had fair or red hair and blue eyes. These were the Celts, who probably came from Central Europe or from southern Russia. They knew how to work with iron and could make better weapons than the people who used bronze. The Celts began to control all the lowlands areas of Britain, and were joined by new arrivals from the European mainland over the next 700 years. They were organized into different tribes, and tribal chiefs were chosen from each family or tribe, sometimes as a result of fighting matches between individuals, and sometimes by election. Their use of iron technology and their introduction of more advanced plowing methods made it possible for them to farm heavier soils. However, they continued to use and build hill forts. These remained the center for local groups. The insides of these hill forts were filled with houses, and they became the simple economic capitals and smaller towns of the different tribal areas into which Britain was divided. The Celtic tribes were ruled over by a warrior class, of which the priests, or druids, seem to have been particularly important members. These druids could not read or write, but they memorized all the religious teachings, the tribal laws, history, medicine, and other knowledge necessary in Celtic society. They had no temples, but they met in the trees, on hills, over rivers. Little is known about their kind of worship except that, at times, it included human sacrifice. During the Celtic period, women may have had more independence. In fact, when the Romans invaded Britain, two of the largest tribes were ruled by women. The Romans. Under the Celts, Britain had become an important food producer because of its mild climates. The Romans could make use of British food for their own army fighting the Gauls in France, and for that reason they invaded the island. The settlers brought the skills of reading and writing to the island. The written word was important for spreading ideas and also for establishing power. However, Latin completely disappeared when the Anglo-Saxons invaded Britain. The Roman Empire conquered almost the whole island with little difficulty because it had a better trained army and because the Celtic tribes fought among themselves. However, they could not conquer Caledonia, as they called Scotland. At last, they built a strong wall along the northern border, named after the Emperor Hadrian. It was simply intended to keep out raiders from the north. Roman control of Britain came to an end as the empire began to collapse. The first signs were the attacks by Celts of Caledonia. In 409 AD, Rome pulled its last soldiers out of Britain, and the Romano-British, Romanized Celts, were left to fight alone against the Scots, the Irish, and Saxon raiders from Germany. The following year, Rome itself fell to raiders. Roman life. The main characteristic of Roman Britain was its towns, which were the basis of Roman administration and civilization. These towns were built with stone as well as wood, and had planned streets, markets, and shops. Some of these buildings had central heating. They were connected by roads which continued to be used long after the Romans left, and became the main roads of modern Britain. Outside the towns, large farms called villas appeared. These belonged to the richer Britons, who were more Roman than Celts in their manners. Each villa had many workers and was usually close to towns so that the crops could be sold easily.